Hey, what's up guys, back again with another video in the Java series. This episode I'm going to show you how to use lambdas as parameters.
I got love for you, take it or leave it. I know you pick up on the very first ring. Let's go somewhere where we can just be unseen. I'm reaching out to you, take it or...
Okay guys, now that we actually know how to use lambdas pretty well now, especially in generic purposes and non-generic purposes, we can actually use them as method parameters. So that's one feature that we can do with lambdas, and it's pretty cool. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And so yeah, let's jump right into it. So let's actually define an interface here, a functional interface. So we'll just call it numbers are cool, because why not? Okay, and then we'll say return an integer. We'll just call it number method. Okay, and then it'll take an integer as a parameter. So it's gonna take an integer and then do something with that integer and then return the integer, or a integer. Okay, so yeah, so we can actually use a lambda expression as a parameter for a method, of course. So let's actually define a method real quick. So we'll do that right here, and we'll call it static because we want to actually be able to call upon it without actually having to declare an object or anything like that. So static integer random method. So it's going to be a method that returns an integer. Okay, it's going to be called random method because I'm not very creative. And then yeah, so there we go. So we need to return an integer of sorts. Okay, so basically if we want to use a lambda expression inside of our parameters here, we can actually do that by actually declaring a basically a variable reference like we usually would with a parameter and with lambda expression. So like this, numbers are cool, and then we can give it a name of something like a. Okay, and there we go. So there we declared a parameter for numbers are cool interface. Okay, so in this case we can provide, oh, I'll show you in a second. Okay, but then once we provide the numbers are cool lambda expression, once we use it, we actually want to return something, because of course we still need to return an integer here. So let's return the result of numbers are cool. Okay, because if we look here, numbers are cool, the method for numbers are cool actually returns a integer also. So let's just go ahead and return the result, the integer result of numbers are cool. So we can do that by doing a, which is the name of our parameter here, our lambda expression, dot number method. Okay, so also we need to provide the parameter for our lambda expression. Okay, once we call upon it right here. So there's multiple ways we can do that, but to keep it simple, we're just going to provide our own for now. So 10, okay, or we'll just do 5. Okay, so then basically what this is going to do, you're going to whenever you call upon this method, okay, it's going to want you to provide a expression that provides the implementation for this functional interface here, right? And then it's going to call upon that functional interface method, abstract method, and then it's going to provide 5 as the parameter. Okay, and then whatever you told it to do, it's going to return, well, we'll see in a second, but anyway, that's how that works. Okay, so let's actually use our method that we just created 2 seconds ago. So we can do it by just simply random method, okay, because it's a static method, we can just call upon it that easily. And then now it's asking for the numbers are cool, and then a, that's the name of it, as a parameter. Okay, so basically what that means is it wants a either an object of interface that we can provide, because that's basically what it's asking for. What's an object of the interface, or more simply, we can provide a lambda expression to provide the implementation for that interface. Okay, what we're going to do is provide a lambda expression. So to provide a lambda expression as a parameter, we can actually just do it like we would normally do it. So we could just do our parameter sign right here, arrow function, and then we could type 45. So basically this would provide the implementation for an abstract method by just returning the number 45. Okay, but let's actually return a block of code. Okay, so basically what we want to do is make it so that they can it can take a parameter, so int a. Okay, and so we actually need to have this because we're providing 5 here, right? So 5, and also we have to have one anyway because up here it says we need one. So anyway, so we're declaring an integer as the parameter. We already know how to do all of this, so we're just going to do something simple like make a temporary variable. So int temp 5 is equal to 5, and then we're going to return a times 5. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Okay, so basically what this is going to be doing is taking a variable, okay, the one that you provide right here. It's going to plug it into here, right? And then it's going to use this temporary variable and multiply the variable that you provided by that temporary variable, and then it's going to return the value of that, okay? And then since we're returning the value of that lambda expression here, so basically think of it this way, okay? This thing that I just highlighted, it's returning a value, right? As you see here, it's returning a value. So once it returns that value, this is now equal to that value. So then it's just going to return the value of this, okay? It's all very simple. I'm probably explaining it really bad, okay? But anyway, so it's going to return that. So we need to do something with this, because if we run this right now, nothing's going to happen, right? Because we're returning something. There's no output statement. So if we want to actually output this, we can, let's just set it to a variable. That's one way. So we'll do int num1, and we'll say num1 is equal to the result of this method here, okay? So anyway, let's see what happens. So if we did this correctly, it should return 25 because it's doing 5 times 25. I mean 5 times 5. Oh yeah, I forgot to output it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So we get 25, so that works perfectly fine. And yeah, so let's suppose that we actually want the user to be able to provide their own number in here, because as you can see, we're providing the number manually. So let's say whenever they run the method here, they can provide their own number, basically, like I just said 2 seconds ago. So we could do that by actually specifying a second parameter for our method, okay? So we could do int b, okay, and then we could just plug b inside of there. So that works perfectly fine. And then we could just do something like this, where we say after the lambda expression we put a comma because we're adding another variable, and then we just plug in whatever number we want to use as a parameter, right? So the way this will work now is whenever this method is called upon, it's going to provide the implementation for this abstract method, right? We already know what that is. But then it's going to use this second parameter, plug it into here, and then it's going to times it by 5 and return the value of that 5 times 5. And then we're going to store it in here, and then we're going to output it, okay? That's all very complex, but all very simple at the same time, okay? So anyway, we're returning the value of this, basically, okay, into here. And we're storing it in here, and then we're outputting the value of that, okay? So that should also return 25 because we provided 5 as the second parameter. But let's test it by providing a 4 here. So that should return 20 because 4 times 5 is 20. As you can see, we're doing it times 5. And so yeah, we get 20. So that works good. Works well. So let's, we can also provide a second, we can use the method twice. So we can provide multiple implementations as parameters. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's define another variable so we can store the value of the method that we're about to call. You don't actually have to do this, but that's what I'm doing. So we could output the results as you can see here, like we did. So anyway, so num2 is equal to random method, so we're calling it again. And then it wants us to provide an object of numbers are cool or a lambda expression for that functional interface, okay? So let's provide a thing that does that. And we'll just do what we did last time, where we just create a factorial finding method or interface implementation. So anyway, so we'll do something like this. And then we'll have that. So we'll have a block of code here. So inside of here, we're going to do int results is equal to 1. Oh yeah, also we need a parameter here. So we'll do int a. Okay. And then we're going to do for int I is equal to 1. As long as I is less than or equal to a. And then we'll do I plus plus. Okay. Oh yeah. And then inside of that for loop, it's going to do result is equal to I times the results, okay, and then it's just going to return the results, okay. That's really simple. And then we get a giant error because we didn't provide a second parameter, okay. And let's just provide 2 just to test it out. So I know that was a lot, and I went kind of quick, but basically we're just defining a lambda expression that finds the factorial of the number that you provide, okay, and the number we're providing is going to be 2, okay, of course, because the second parameter is going to be the thing that goes inside of the lambda expression, as you can see here. So anyway, so let's output the value of num2, which is going to be the variable we store the result of this of this method here. Okay, so we're going to output that result. So if we did this correctly, it's going to find the factorial of 2, and that should be 4, because 2 times 2 times 1 is 4. So that should work. Oh, we get 2. Oh, I mean 2 times 1 basically. Okay, so yeah, so that's correct anyway. So that works perfectly fine. And then hopefully you understand that. Basically it's just the same thing as up here, but this time we're just defining a different implementation or Lambda expression that we did before, okay? So it's all very simple. And the last thing I'm going to show you is actually really cool. Well, not really cool, but it's kind of cool. I mean, it's nice. But what we're going to do is provide, we're going to use this method again a third time, but this time we don't actually have to define the Lambda expression inside the parameter space. We can actually predefine it like we used to do the last few episodes. So like this, basically. Let me show you. So we could do numbers are cool, like, and then we could give it a name, so square root. Okay, and so what this one will do is just find the value of the square root of the number we provide. So it's going to take an integer, of course, and then we're going to do that. And let's just do a single line expression. So there's this special math thing that we could do. So we can find the square root of a number, we could do that, and then we'll just plug a inside of there. But we get an error because this is going to return a double, so we could just cast it, some simple casting. So there, the error goes away, and then we can do that. So basically what this is going to do is define a Lambda expression of the functional interface of numbers are cool, and then store it in the object of square root like we used to do, or like we still do, but last few episodes that's what we did. So yeah, anyway, so we're storing this Lambda expression inside of here, okay? So then if, for example, we want to use it as a parameter, we could do that. So let's make a third variable, so num3, and then num3 is equal to random method, and then we could just plug it in here like this. There we go. And then we could provide the number. So let's find the square root of 25. That should just be 5. So there we go, and let's output the value of num3. Okay, and let's run that. So yeah, we get 5. So that worked perfectly fine. And why do I keep saying perfectly fine? That's weird. Anyway, so what I'm doing here, I'm just plugging in basically a Lambda expression inside of here. So we could actually copy and paste this, copy and paste this if we want to. It'll work perfectly fine, or the same. I keep saying that. So it'll work the same way, basically, okay? So basically, it's the same thing as plugging a variable inside of here, because this is technically a variable. It's a variable reference. So anyway, so yeah, we could just do that here, and there we go. So hopefully you found this very informative and very cool, like I did, because I like this. This is kind of cool. So anyway, if you have any questions at all, just leave a comment and I'll help you. Also, we have a Discord in the description where you can join it, ask questions, hang out with us, whatever you want to do. You could show some support, anything. And also, don't forget to check the code from today's episode, because I have all the code, and it can be very helpful when you can't remember how to do certain things. And yeah, so make sure you bookmark it, use it as a reference for the future, anything you want to do. So yeah, hopefully this episode wasn't too confusing. If I didn't explain it good enough, just ask a question if you need to, or just pause the video, play around with it, anything you want to do. So anyway, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and peace.